Now, a major climate change conference has opened in Bonn, Germany, with Africa making a strong case for the establishment of a loss and damage fund and global stock taking. The African group of negotiators on climate change also wants issues of global stock taking prioritized. There is more in the following report by Kofi Edudomfe.
Countries in Africa are already experiencing severe and widespread impacts of climate change, causing devastation to lives, livelihoods, and the continent's development trajectory. The BONN Climate Change Conference is expected to make progress on mandates emerging from COP27 in Egypt and prepare draft decisions for adoption at COP28 in UAE. Issues of critical importance include the global stocktake, global goal on adaptation, just transition, loss and damage, and the mitigation work program. Chair of the African Group of Negotiators, Ephraim Shitima, has reaffirmed the AGN's call for the GST to be balanced to take corrective measures for better implementation of climate action.
The GST technical dialogues emerging messages will form the content of the factor synthesis report, and it is important that these messages reflect the breadth and findings from the best available science and various inputs that we have considered. Ultimately, the GST outcome must operationalize the fairness and the just transition for all. Our expectation of the form of the GST outcome is a negotiated one that is owned by all parties. We have the understanding that the high-level committee working in consultations with parties will guide and facilitate this process. The GST outcome must secure policy space and the appropriate means for the African countries to implement their NDCs in the context of achieving SDGs and transition to low emission and resilient development. It is also prudent for the process to leave SB 58 with the outline and an indicative elements of the final GST outcome and a sense of political messages. As COP28 is the GST COP, the GST should be an assessment of what we have achieved towards the goals of the Paris Agreement, to assess the wrongs and take corrective measures for better implementation of climate action.
The AGN also wants the operationalization of the Loss and Damage Fund with flexible and robust modalities prioritized. The team is also determined to ensure finance is given the prominence it deserves on the agenda.
The GST outcome must operationalize the fairness and the just transition for all. Our expectation of the form of the GST outcome is a negotiated one that is owned by all parties. We have the understanding that the high-level committee working in consultations with parties will guide and facilitate this process. The African Group calls on developed countries to deliver and restore confidence in and trust in the UNFCCC process. The GCF replenishment in October is an opportunity for developed countries to show the world their willingness to do their part in addressing climate change and support climate action in developing countries.
The African Group also calls for an ambitious outcome on climate adaptation at COP28. For JoyNews, Kofi Edudomfe reporting.